right. Screws and glue, they're holding it tight. Piece by piece, it's a builder's delight. Making dreams in the still of the night. Let's get into it, let's get building now. Put it all together, I'll show you how. Screw by screw and a little glue too. Welcome to the workshop that's waiting for you. In the heart of creation, models take form. One more piece and they'll weather the storm. Engines roar or a ship in its prime. Building bonds stronger than time. Your hands are steady, your vision is clear. Dreams in plastic, they're finally here. Every piece has its very own song. In this workshop where we all belong. Let's get into it, let's get building now. Put it all together, I'll show you how. Screw by screw and a little glue too. Welcome to the workshop, it's waiting for you. Hours fly by as the pieces align. Apart work, beauty and design so fine. You're the maker, turning vision to truth. Building wonders for dreams of your youth. Hours fly by as the pieces align. Apart work, beauty and design so fine. You're the maker, turning vision to truth. Building wonders for dreams of your youth.
To another live stream. So again, continuing on with the Flying Scotsman. I'm not as prepared as I thought I would be. So we are going to continue with the tender. Full disclosure, last week I missed out loads of stuff. So I'll show you that. I'm probably not going to continue that bit at the moment, but I will actually go back a few steps and actually start on issue 54, which is all the brake linkage for the tender. But beyond that, I will probably hopefully have these bits attached to the rest of the tender, which is what I didn't achieve last week. So I'll take you over to the build desk and we'll get on with it. See if my computer's going to work. There we go. Hey, build desk. Right, so I'll start off by showing you what I didn't do last week. Now I was going to try and do it just before the stream, but haven't had a chance to do that. One, I put this step on upside down. I'd actually put the left on the right and the right on the left, etc. So they end up upside down. So they're now the right way up, and you can probably just see there's this little stay between those. I forgot to put those on, so they are now there, and should also have one of these little plates on each of these pieces here. Now those I can fit after the fact, after they're attached to this, so I'm not going to worry about that this time. What I am going to do is to show you where that was. So you can see they're the little plates that need to be attached there. But 54, I've gone back a little bit because I was looking at 97. I think, nope, it's further on than this. After we put this in, we can't put the lower part of the chassis in without having the brake rods done. Now, I went back through and that's where 54 comes in. Now, it didn't look too difficult to do this. Now, I think the Mallard had very complex brakes on the rear of the tender, but this looks to be very simple. Just need to cut some bar, which I've actually already done, so I've tried to prepare this as much as possible. And it should just be a case of putting some wires in and then putting the linkage in. So we should get that done, and then we move on to 97. So this is our tender chassis, looking just like this at the moment, and as you can see, part of it is painted. So we're basically going to be linking these up, and I can see that those are a bit bent. So we might have some issues trying to get this all to line up. But that's just the story of it being stored for such a long time and getting a little bit bashed around. Because these parts are only soft metal. So I'll try and straighten that out as much as possible, and then we'll see if we can get that sorted when it comes to putting the rods in. So we've got a couple of these pieces. They're going to be the start of the brake rod system that I was going to set just here. So I have taken all the parts out, but I haven't yet cleaned them up. And to be fair, these don't actually need too much cleaning up. They come out pretty clean. So get this the same way around as the magazine, and just try and work out which way around these go. So it's like a detail side and a non-detail side. Got these two little points here. Now I don't know if they're meant to be drilled out. It doesn't look like they're meant to be. But it looks like they go on the inside of the chassis. And that's just going to sit in there, like so. So let's grab some glue. And we get both of these glued in, it looks like. And how well super glue is going to hold this. It's only a thin piece that's going into there. Might be beneficial. Try and get this bar to go through and get the other one in as well. Just like that. And hopefully, with any luck, this bar will help keep everything stood upright. Sure, the Mallard wasn't as bad as this. Anyone else find super glue sticks instantly when you don't want it to? When you're holding apart, it seems to take forever. Right. That's sort of in there. Try and bring it over a little bit. Now I can already see that part is actually bent. Hopefully we can straighten that out shortly. Now, I won't glue that piece in just yet. We are asked to, but just because I want to give it a little bit of wiggle room, I'll glue it in at the end. Now, we've got some 1mm wire as well, and with any luck, it'll go through these holes and go through the holes in the parts we've just put in. Maybe I should have put these wires in first. It would have held it in place. It's not going through the hole. Why are you not going through the hole? Got it. Right, so get that one through there. Now, it's probably because I've done the mallard that I've learned not to glue everything in place in one go. So, case in point, having a wiggle room for this. I think once this is in, then I'll be happier to glue those a little bit more. Let's try and straighten that out a little bit. There we go. I might even try and a little bit of UV resin to hold those up. Right, so we need to basically have this poking out relatively the same both sides. Try and get that straight. Apologies if my head gets in the way. Try and look down on it. Try and get it straight. So with that one in, we need to do the same for these two, but we don't have any linkages for those. I'm used to the mallard where I think it had several linkages on the inside, whereas this one seems to be much simpler, and all we need is a single bar going all the way through there, and another one going all the way through here. Again, we need to make sure that they're relatively central. I know these are going to go on the ends. And then we have these two shorter ones, and because of the water collector, we don't have them going all the way through. So they're going to stick out about the same as what those ones are. And then it's just a case of put these on the end. So again, I've not glued any of this because it'll give me maximum amount of wiggle room. I don't know if I need to grab my drill and potentially open the holes on these. I think I do. If you haven't been keeping up with the mallard, it's a fantastic little drill. I got that from Tyrell Models, along with some nice tungsten drill bits as well. So if that's a 1mm, we're probably going to want a 1.1mm hole. So we take that one. And if I can find just a sacrificial bit of wood. And just open up these holes ever so slightly. The only problem with these drills is that they want to really screw into the material you're drilling. So sometimes going for a slightly larger one than what you actually need is not ideal, because they'll tend to screw themselves in, as you can see, but not necessarily do any drilling. They're super brilliant when you've got a deep hole to do, not so much when you're just doing it in a small section like this, because I don't think that's going to work very well. There we go, got it. And one thing I have learned going through a few of these drill bits, when doing something like this, if you do drill into wood, be very, very careful, because they do have a tendency to snap if they're a little bit off kilter. And luckily for me, the drill bits themselves aren't exactly that expensive. And the last time I ordered some from David at Tyrell Models, I treated myself to the new handle, and I think I've got 2 sets of the drill bits as well. Now, we weren't asked to drill these out, but it was a little bit tight. I think I'm just used to doing it with the mallard. Right, so with those drilled out, hopefully now it'll go on the ends of these rods a little bit easier. If I have to go to 1.1, I will. Thinking I might have to. Now, if this was Wayne's channel, you'd all be dreading me drilling my finger with a drill bit. I'm going to avoid that, hopefully. That's probably not really any easier way of doing this, other than me holding it in my hand. Right, that's that one. Let's just double check that before I do the other one. Yeah, that's much easier, much better. And obviously now the challenge is to try and get this rod and the brakes to all align. And the brakes are glued in place, so there's not really any wiggle room on those bits. And I think, surprisingly, it's only this one that might need a little bit of a tweak. Get that one back through there. Right, we'll just open up the holes in this one. Hey, spider. Right. Let's get this one on here. Again, it's probably going to need some of these tweaking. I suppose the benefit is that it is soft metal, so hopefully I can get them to bend and line up. Let that little bit go. There it is. See, that's where I'm lucky bugged this. The hospital is probably about 5 minutes away from my house, so I'll be fine. And to be fair, I should probably be a little bit more careful because the wife's actually out tonight. So I don't know if I can get away with more stuff. Maybe. But then again, there's more risk if I stab myself. I don't think I've ever injured myself on camera. I don't plan on that being changed tonight. This is so fiddly. It'll be something that would be even worse, I reckon, if I'd started gluing stuff all in place beforehand. I think I'm going to have to bend this brake back a little bit, which will bring the whole rod back. You know what I'm starting to wonder? If there's a front and a back to these. I don't think there is. No, they look identical no matter which way around you have them. Something just made me think that on the mallard there was a right and a wrong way for something for the brake rods. I think it was the spacing on the rod itself and where the holes were. But it doesn't seem to be a case on this one. It's just this centre one doesn't seem to fit in very well. You'll probably see that the centre one is sort of off too far forward, backwards. Now, theoretically, I can try and push these brakes back a little bit, but they are only soft metal, so I don't really want to break them. So it might just be a case of hope and glue. Right, we want to leave a little bit of a spacing between the brake and the rod. Now, I'm not too worried about having that too even at the moment because we will just cut these off. So let's try and get this one in first. Probably got a bigger risk of me gluing myself to this, to be fair, than actually stabbing myself. Done that enough times to the mallard. And that's what you call being part of the model. I should probably have first aid equipment in the workshop as well, burglars. There have been times when I have injured myself. Just seem to avoid it when doing build videos. But then again, most of my build videos are, well, if I'm going to injure myself on any build video, it's going to be something like this or the mallard. Everything else is screws together. Thinking about that, even Wayne's managed to stab himself with a screwdriver, so anything's possible. Oh, now I can't get away with anything. The wife's definitely home now. Now, interesting enough, obviously, I know why I left the brake rods out, just doing it now, is you were told to paint it, but you can almost not get these wheels off once you've got these brake rods in. I'm sure the mallards are similar to that. Just tease this one out a little bit because it's a bit too close. That's funny, bag this. And I'm sure it was a strategic cut as well. Right, so that's in there. I'm going to say those two are just off at an angle, and there's really nothing I can do about that. Right, so now we've got that bit in, it's going to give us a better fighting chance of getting this section all solid, hopefully. Start off by just gluing that cylinder in place. And then I'll apply more glue where it sits into the chassis. Sure, that's still not straight, but it's also one of those things you're not going to see once the engine is done, unless you turn the engine upside down. But that's the lower part of the chassis. We have its brake rods in. Now, I'll leave that for now because we don't need this section anymore. And I just need to cut the ends off these, but I'll wait until the glue has fully solidified on that one. So that was basically stage 54 done. And you can see all we need to do, cut the ends off and then file them flat. Basically look like bolt detail. Done that loads of times on the mallard. So 97 now we're jumping to, and I think that is how it was. Obviously we had the other bits for the tender like 92, 93, but the massive gap I think is all different parts of the engine. So similar to the Mallard where you're sort of jumping around different sections. So this is where we are going to be attaching those to the bottom of the chassis and attaching the rear drawbar, I believe that is. Now, if the Mallard's anything to go by, this is not as simple as it first appears. So let's see how things go. And so it's already been half an hour and I've done that. If I showed you that and said, oh yeah, I spent half an hour on that, you'd think, oh, that's like literally 5 minutes work. Put some rods in. But if you had anyone ever done this kit previously or anything like this, let's see how much work goes into actually trying to get this thing together when you're not using screw to do it all. Now we should be using epoxy to put this in, and if it was a running model I probably would be. Just trying to make sure I get this the right way around, which I believe is this way. See whether these tabs will actually go into these slots or not. I think the bottom of this chassis is actually bent. You can probably just see that on the camera at the top there. But even putting that in that slot and the front slot, those two do not line up. So I'm sure the chassis is bent. Probably not much I can do about that. That one seems okay. Well, this has been glued for many, many years. So I'm just going to have to work around it. I'm sure it'll be fine with a little bit of filler eventually. So just trying to work it out. So it's definitely, these are the front steps and this is the front of the tender. Hey Todd, nice to join. Nice for you to join us. You fancy doing one of these on your part work websites? I think that's never going to work like that. So it's going to be a case of straight from the glue pot, I think. And you know what I probably don't have to hand is a square. You mean you're building something without photographing it 100 times, Todd? To be fair, I can see the appeal to that. I've got a 1/8 scale Lamborghini, Lego Lamborghini. I say Lego, it's fake Lego, which I'm building. And I'm not recording that. One of the reasons I'm not recording it is an absolute pain to put together. It's not organised very well. The bags, you literally have 3 bags, and you seem to be picking bits out of all 3 bags all at the same time. I don't know how many pieces there are, but thousands probably. It takes so much longer to actually find a part. There we go. Got that bit stayed in there. Right, these are the parts that we actually got with this issue. I seem to have lost my knife. There it is. Yeah, this is definitely not like Partworks of today. Could you imagine if like the skyline or something, you know, you had bits on fret and you had to start shaping and panel beating doors and wings, etc. But to be fair, that'd probably be more like the E-type that you'd do that with. Hand built as opposed to mass produced. Right, so with that piece in, those pieces in there, we need this piece. And this is going to go at the front here. We do have 2 tabs for it. And I can see that's crooked as anything. In a minute. Hopefully this will help us line it all up. Yeah, I think that should work. So get some glue on here. I would try putting chat up on screen, but I'm likely to glue myself to either the engine or my tablet. Both of which would be really funny on camera. But I'm going to try and avoid it. Right, so we've got that piece in there. And then it looks like we need this piece for the other end. Again, we have 2 tabs for it to go over. Yep. And again, learning from the mallard, best to do a dry fit, make sure it actually fits in place. And that reminds me actually, these 2 tiny little bits on the ends here are another bit that I managed to miss out doing. So I just folded those over in little U brackets and stuck those in place. Let's over that tab. Appreciate the likes. Thank you very much. Why do I get the feeling I've just put this on back to front? I have not. I just noticed that this is a off-center part. I always guarantee that I put it on back to front, but I haven't. I'm just going to run some glue along there because that's not staying where I want it to. A minute. think that's in place, and it looks relatively straight now. Hey kids! Thought they'd all go to sleep. Clearly too much excitement for them. Right, I'm not going to flip this one over yet. They basically tell us to do this one next, which is on the other end. But I'm actually going to do this detail plate first. Just get rid of that little burr. And I did remember, I bought myself some new emery sticks. Not just to do my nails. So I've got to try and get that all lined up. Just glue that to the bench, why not? Just as the mother-in-law's here, I'm going to make her a little bit jealous and just pull over something else that I've got now. So on Sunday it was Plymouth Brick Festival, so went along to there. Sounds bigger than it is. It was only a small little thing, but I happened to notice there was a Aston Martin DB5, which is a retired Lego set as it happens. And if you want it off Amazon, you're paying almost 300 quid for it, and I wasn't prepared to pay that. Right. Try and get that to stay in place. I think we're okay. So we're going to flip that one over. You can see that's the glue that was sticking it to the workbench. But hopefully that will allow me, or aid me, in sticking this in place. I forgot Megan was watching. She seems to like trains though, so I can have as many trains as I want. Do you reckon it's too late to say it was an old model that I've had for years? Wait. Right, so with those in, we've got a nice fiddly bit now. If I can find the fret with all the fiddly bits on, which is one we had previously, and that's this one. So we've got 93 and 92, and it's all these parts basically, and they're all going to go down the edge. It's interesting actually, with this one, putting these in, we were told to put these in on the mallard before putting these side rails in. I didn't do it, I did it this way. So it's interesting the fact that they changed the way they did it. I personally found it easier putting them in afterwards. Right, if I'd realised I was doing this, I'd have tidied all these up beforehand. Tons of them to do. Luckily, they've only put them in with one tie. So if I can try and get it as close as possible, I might actually be able to get away without tidying too many of them up. give it a quick test fit. Apologies, you won't be able to see too much on this at the moment. Yeah, it's going to need those bits to be really flat, unfortunately. And normally I don't record me doing this filing. You have to tell me how this picks up on the microphone, because the previous time that I did it, it was all like fingers on a chalkboard sort of thing. But I've changed the microphone since, so I don't know if it's any better. Oops. But these do make short work of the brass. And if this is fingers like on a chalkboard, I do apologise. Right, that's half of them done. And I think the easy way to do it is just basically grab them with some pliers and get them glued in. So they're going to look like that. Let's see if I can just change the camera and then you might be able to see a little bit better. This is where it's going to get a little bit tricky because of the divot in the chassis plate. I'd say, as much as I complain about having to do all these little fiddly bits, it's nice to see all this little details. Now, I seem to be one short at the minute. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Still in the first spread. That'd be one short. And we cut it out. Always had to be one that fell over, didn't it? Right, so that's all those ones then. Just need to do the exact same thing for the other side. Right, and do the exact same procedure. Just dip it in glue and then get it attached. I think putting these in is probably going to be the last thing I have time for on this stream. But it's nice to get this one out of retirement and start getting on with it. Now, I don't know if I'll do the Scotsman every week. I'm sure I might have something else that I can do. I do have some plastic kits that I can do. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Make sure these are all straight. I think just to finish off, what I'll do, as I've got them here, I'll just get these cut out. Maybe I can just finish off this detail on the side. Not going to take too long just to put these bits in. I think this is the oldest partwork model that I haven't completed and that I still have. It's not the oldest partwork model I've got though. One of my nitro cars was Build Your Nitro Racer. I think it was a D'Agostini publication. I don't know how well you can count that one because most of the parts on it are not what came with the magazine now. I think I broke all those. Right, so with those cleaned up, they're basically just going to sit just here. I think the easy and quick way of going to be doing this is put them all into place and then just try and touch them with a little bit of super glue around the edge. I do regret missing out on the Ecto. I think that would have been a really good build. Right. So that first bit tacked in, we can just go along and do the rest. That one's already glued in. Flip it over, and these will be the last 4 parts I do on tonight's stream. So again, with those tacked in place, just run some extra glue. Oops. That one didn't glue it as well as I originally thought. And then just to finish these off, I'll just run some glue along here. And then that'll make sure they're completely solid and they're not going to come off. Perfect. Have you seen I'm doing the Megazord bag disc? 11 issues a month. That really speeds things up. I've only been doing it 4 months, 3 months, and I've got issue 30 to do. So I think I've got 20, mostly 20 to 30 or something like that next to do. So looking forward to that. I think I've got the T-Rex head, so that's going to be fun. But I think that is going to be it for tonight. Right. Thank you very much for joining me. So obviously we've got that in place. Now obviously I haven't cut those off, but that will eventually just sit down over like that, and I think that's going to look absolutely fantastic. And it's very close to how we are with the mallard there, because obviously the mallard now has all its brakes, etc. on the back. Still got all the bits on the side to do on this one. Again, not sure how similar they are, but certainly a lot of the construction is similar with the bottom part, and I know we've got less detail on that, so maybe this model is slightly less detailed. Don't know. Only the future will know that. So if you want to see more of how this progresses, I hopefully will be doing it again on a future live stream. Whether that's next week or not, I'm not sure at the moment. Depends whether something else comes up, maybe some more Lego. So thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Cheers.